might be just under $1 million, or just over. That's gonna get through. Jay's not gonna. And a shout out to Jay for doing a good job laddering. You know, he's made it to third place. Hasn't really played too many hands, but you know, sometimes doing nothing in poker is sometimes doing nothing in poker is you know what you like. It is what earns you the most money. So. So yeah, I mean, like the dream scenario right now for Jay, obviously a double up would be nice, but another nice thing for him would be to see the other two guys really go at it, and you know they haven't really shown that they are willing to yet. And Jay here has that he's gonna ship this in. That's an all in, and it's gonna get through. Yeah, there you go. No drama from Joe.
All right, so our three remaining players, Basil Congro from Eastern Poker Tour up in Massachusetts, Rhode Island area. Jay Reed, Eastern Poker Tour also, Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And our buddy Joe Jarboe, No Limit Poker Tour in Florida. So those are our three.
No Limit Pub Poker Tour. Come on.
Wow, No Limit Pub Poker Tour. And he's from Stuart, Florida. So those are our three remaining players. You guys wanted to know that. Still a ton of money up for grabs. $50,000 for first place, $28,866 for second place, $19,478 for third place. Not too bad. I'm Evan Myers.
Deal me in.
Deal you in. We're going to definitely deal Ebony Kenny in, and Ryan Chua as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Jay's got another really nice hand. I think he's going to shove it in here too. Yeah, and he basically says, you know, I'm not shipping it, but you know, if you do push me, I'm gonna call. Joe has ace-8 offsuit. That's a little bit too weak of an ace to call with. I like the fold. Basil 9-3 offsuit. Giving a little speech before he throws his cards away. He's like, I know I would have called you if we weren't EP teammates. And Jay shows the cards. Still keeping it friendly, even when they're three-handed playing for $50,000. Not something you really see, you know, in other tournaments. You know, and I think that's what makes it fun. These players are able to, you know, keep it friendly while still playing for some money here. Don't like that show. So if you ask me personally, I don't like any showing unless I absolutely have to. I really, yeah. I would advise anyone listening to never show if you're playing poker. But, you know, I understand the reasoning behind it.
So, guys, Ryan, you've certainly played in this, and Ebony, you've been watching this and commentating for the last few years. What have you seen different in this year's tournament compared to some of the other tournaments, whether it's here at the final table or throughout the tournament? I
mean, I was actually really impressed with my my third bullet, the table I got on day one. A big thing that you see in tournaments now, I know in 2003 through 2007, that you had to like mandatory 3x the pot or more, pre-flop, in order for it to be considered a decent sized raise. Like a 2x raise was laughable, but like these days you're actually seeing in most tournaments the 2x raise getting through. And I started seeing that at my table, and I was like, whoa, like 2x raises are getting through on this table. Like you usually, when you get to the stage in the game, when you get on day one, you get later on, it's you're seeing like still 3, 4x, 5x raises, thinking that if you raise more, they're magically not going to wake up with cards.
Right.
That's just not the truth.
Feeling like you're forcing their hand to make them, think about it harder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't dictate what someone does with how much money you put in, and people are starting to realize that now. So I really like the improvement in play that I've seen.
You and I have been talking about that for a while, how some of the betting hasn't needed to be quite as high.
And
as
stuff like this, right, where they're three-handed. He's got king 9 offsuit on the button, and he knows that that's a snap raise because you're three-handed. That you probably have the best hand here. That's stuff that you might not have seen in previous years, where people don't account for the number of players at the table or the dynamic, or my hand strength goes up because there's less people at the table. But the players here, and again, the rate at which they're getting knocked out at, it shows me that the play has, you really need to step up your game to get to this point now, because this is becoming bigger and bigger every year, so yeah, you're going to have to step up your game. This is becoming a real event with, eventually $1 million prize pool. We're getting through, and I was like, I kind of wanted to jump up and down for joy, but I didn't, because I didn't want the players to know that they were playing well.
So Ryan, I've been asked a lot, and you can help explain this. How would you explain to a lot of, obviously not to a professional poker player, but to a recreational or a pub poker player, value of the pot and leaving yourself some value, or taking the value out of it? Because I was told or asked, we've been talking about,
look at this situation.
2x raises, 2.5x raises being plenty, but their concern is leaving value in the pot and not having that person scared of not having, of the call being too big and not calling. So how can you explain that so people can understand that in general terms?
Well, if you think, like, the simplest way, and this might be oversimplifying it a little bit, but if you lower your sizing, you're actually lowering your variance. So, I mean, there's good variance, obviously, and there's bad variance.
All right, we're seeing some fireworks here, guys.
So, yeah,
I'm going to interrupt.
No, I know. This is a pretty insane hand to watch, because Joe's got a pocket pair. Again, three-handed.
So Joe raised
huge.
to 1.6,
Yeah.
and Basil has now 3-bet to $4 million with the better hand.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what's going to happen here.
If Joe does decide to make a move, Basil's snap folding.
You think?
Yes, I 100% think so.
He put a third of his chips in already.
He did that because he wants to be able to get away from it. I would bet you $1 that if he does raise,
$1.
I don't think Joe is going to stick with this hand, because I think Joe is at least cognizant of the situation he's in. I don't see him just calling. I actually don't think that's a great idea, because you're not going to see many flops that you love.
Yeah.
You really aren't. So you're just going to call and then fold the flop if you don't flop a set. That's not great tournament poker, because I think the total amount of chips in play is like 50 bigs right now. 50, 60 bigs. So yeah, it's short stack poker here. So seeing a flop is I'm
It's going
wrong.
to be just fine, because he's making the call.
He is making the call. Jeez. Wow. So let's see if Joe gets lucky here. But this is, I think this gets checked down a majority of the time. I don't think really any, they both have showdown value, like, from the start, because they have pocket pairs. So yeah, I think this is, unless Joe's got some heart and he bets on any street, I think this is just going to get checked down. Or am I wrong? No.
Basil's whipping out some
And
chips.
I do like the bet here, because it hits Basil's 3-bet range a lot harder than Joe's just 3-bet call range. I mean, the king on the board is, yeah. If he bets here, he's Joe is snap folding. Joe is folding so fast here. I don't think he can continue. And I mean, if he imagine how sick it would be if he shoved. And I actually love the fact that Basil sized down. It doesn't need to be a very big bet at all, and you can see Joe didn't even think about it for very long. Basil did happen to have the best hand here, but let's be clear, he wasn't doing that as a value bet. He was doing that as a bluff. it was, you know, I like to call it a value bluff
The
because
value bluff.
yeah, he made that bet as a bluff, and you can see there, you know, there's 8 million in the pot. He only bet 1.5, so Joe was getting great odds to call there, but you don't need to make a huge bet on that flop to just take it down. And now they're chatting with each other. So Basil draws first blood in the big stack versus big stack contest here. And Jay's just sitting back. He's like, go for it, both of you, right now. Get it in there. I don't care. That's what I would be doing. I'll be like, I'll take second place money. I don't care. Like, I'm good with, what is it, 20-something thousand? 30,000? No, it's 30,000, isn't it?
We are at 30,000. We are at 19,478 for third place.
Insane.
28,866.
Okay, so just
for
under
second.
30. Basil here. Now he's got a little momentum, so he's going to raise up the queen seven in the small blind. Again, don't mind it. And
No, it's a nice raise.
He sized down. Again, these raises don't have to be very big. Jay's never getting out of line here. You know, he's got the short stack. He just wants to sit back and, you know, kind of wait it out a little bit, and he can. He's got about, I think he has about 10 bigs. So I mean, he's got a little bit of time to wait it out, or would certainly wait for a better hand than 4-6 offsuit. So we're getting some analysis in the chat here. So Basil is, I like it. Basil seems to be very cognizant of the fact that this is shorthanded and that he's, he's got hands. Sometimes in live poker, though, you do want to see, he wanted to open that hand so bad, but like sometimes if you've won like two hands in a row, you start to think like, oh, they're going to think that I'm bluffing every hand now because I'm opening every hand. So like, it's kind of like one of the, what's the saying? It's like you can't, like you don't want to be the needle that the straw that breaks the camel's back, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Joe's getting some love from North Dakota.
So Jay actually raises and gets a fold through with queen 10 offsuit. I like it. So I'm glad to see we got some Joe fans in the house. Certainly have some Basil fans in the house. Do we have any Jay fans in the house? I was calling him J-Rock earlier because they put his name up as JR.
All right, so we are live at the 2018 Bar Poker Open National Championship here live in Las Vegas at the Gold Nugget in beautiful downtown Las Vegas. I'm Evan Myers, Ryan Chua, and Ebony Kenny. Hanging out with you guys, giving you some analysis, some commentary, talking about the players, making ourselves look like ourselves, and having a great time. So
we got Jay here on the button with the ace-9 offsuit. And he's going to open this up.
He's certainly going to open this up.
Oh, yeah.
1.5.
1.5. That's 1.5. That is a big bet. So that's over 3x. Basil's got king 9 off.
1.2.
So this is actually, 1.2. I'm sorry, it wasn't 1.5. So it's an exactly 3x bet. Basil, again, aware that this is three-handed. So king 9 offsuit is a pretty good hand. I don't think I would fault him for seeing a flop here. I definitely don't like a 3-bet. You could go either way, and he's clearly thinking about that. I guess a 3-bet might work because he does have blockers to kings and pocket 9s, so it would be a 3-bet bluff. You could get a little creative with the raise size too, because it doesn't have to be very big. It can be like, if he raises to 3 million here, I think Jay just folds. That would effectively put Jay all in, more or less. But Basil takes the conservative.